In 2001, the ALCS, the Seattle Mariners had home field advantage like the Toronto Blue Jays. They lost the first two games at home. They went on the road to New York, got down early against the Yankees, only to come back and win that game 14-3 and blow out New York. The Yankees, the home team, then proceeded to win the next two and move on to the World Series. What is up? What is going on, everybody? Welcome back and welcome into the Seattle Mariners post-game recap. The Blue Jays destroy the Mariners tonight, 13-4. Mariners have a 2-1 lead in the ALCS. As always, before I go any further, hit that like button. It helps tremendously. Comment your thoughts on the team, the game down below. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Thank you to all the new subs. Hard keeping up with how many subs are coming in, so I very, very much appreciate everybody's support. Channel members will have a contest up for Game 5. Now that we know there is a Game 5, we'll have the contest up for it. And real quick, I want to give a shout-out to the best behind-the-scenes person on this podcast. That's Mrs. Trident. Happy birthday to her. Unfortunately, the Mariners lose on her birthday, so thanks, Mariners, and thanks for ruining her birthday. But happy birthday to the beautiful and lovely Mrs. Trident. I hope my analogy in the beginning made sense. It wasn't a Mariners analogy. It was a how a series went analogy, right? That the Mariners did exactly in 2001, funny enough, what the Blue Jays have done here so far. Lost two at home, came out, got down early in Game 3, and then brought out the whooping stick. And the Yankees kind of stood on business and won the next two games while the Mariners got their hopes up a little bit. Is that what's going to happen now? Does the series 24 years ago have anything to do with what's going to happen in this series? Of course not. Like, they're two completely different things. But my point is that it happens, right? Like, I didn't think the Mariners were going to sweep the Toronto Blue Jays. I didn't think they were going to go 4-0. It would have been great if they did. Would have been awesome. Would have loved to win this game. Again, as I always say, it doesn't mean this game wasn't frustrating. I know I sound like a broken record on some of these recaps, but certainly a frustrating game. But the Toronto Blue Jays are a really good baseball team. Talked about in the preview, top to bottom, their lineup may not hit a ton of home runs. They did tonight, but they've got enough balance, right? They've got some guys that just put the ball in play. They've got the power with Vlad. Springer's had it this series. It's really just a very balanced lineup top to bottom. They put the ball in play. You know, they had a mix today, right? Like, they crushed George Kirby. They hit the ball hard, but then later on, they got some things to just kind of fall in a little bit too. And then they added the power on top of it. So, I mean, that's what this team can do. And they've got good starting pitching, right? Shane Bieber, who, you know, kind of a little unknown this year, hasn't pitched a ton, but pitched very well in this ball game. And then their bullpen was able to finish it out once it got to a certain point. They're just kind of unraveled for the Seattle Mariners. But again, and I'm sure if you're tired of hearing me saying this, you know, I'm sorry, but it is the truth. If you'd have told me before the series that the Seattle Mariners would be up 2-1, guess what? I would have signed the dotted line and taken that all day, because the only other better alternative is something crashes out there. Hopefully everybody's okay. The only better alternative is being up 3-0. The other options are you're down 2-1 or you're down 0-3. Mariners are in a really, really good spot here, up 2-1 in this series with two more games at home. Still have a chance to potentially win this series at home if you can win the next two. And again, even if you win one here at home, and I don't want that to happen, I want them to win the next two. But even if you find a way to win one, you go back to Toronto up 3-2. That's not a terrible spot to be in. Again, I'm not trying to get way ahead here. Let's play these next two games. But like that, you hope is like worst case scenario. And I have a hard time. Call me crazy. I have a hard time seeing the Mariners lose 3 in a row at home. Maybe they do. Again, broken record, don't have the crystal ball. I just have a very hard time seeing that happen. Flush this away, bounce back, win tomorrow, and you're up 3-1 in the series, and you're in fantastic shape. Just got to kind of toss this one away. How many times during the regular season when you lose the first game do we say, hey, still got a chance to win 2, win a series? And if the Mariners win 2 and win a series here, they're on their way to the World Series. So they're still right there to get this done. They just got to flush it away. It's a good Blue Jays team. They were not going to go down necessarily quietly here. And at some point, a home team's got to win a game in this series, right? Hopefully it's not after the Blue Jays win 2 more and we go back to Toronto. Hopefully it's the Mariners getting it done. But yeah, I mean, now moving on to the game itself, I mean, no other word for it, but massively disappointing. I guess that's 2 words. I can't sugarcoat the game itself. It was awful. George Kirby was not good. The offense, after a big first inning or a solid first inning, kind of falls asleep there. A little noise in the 8th. Good to see Randy get a home run. Maybe that gets him going. Cal gets his second postseason home run. So maybe something they can carry over a little bit into tomorrow. But, the bullpen, the low leverage guys were not very good tonight for the Mariners. So really nothing went right. A little bit of sting because the Mariners get up 2-0 there in the first inning on the Julio home run. And you can kind of feel it. You kind of feel 3-0 is right there. I'm sitting there texting people, hey, just 23 more outs, just 22 more outs, just 21 more outs. But then it just kind of unraveled there for George Kirby, which we'll talk about here. I do feel like a little bit of a turning point in this game was in that first inning. Julio hits the home run, then Polanco doubles. I thought that was a big run sitting out there for the Seattle Mariners. I thought that was kind of a crucial one. I'm not saying the Mariners win this game if they go up 3-0, but you don't know how it's going to play out. I do think 3-0, 3 feels so much bigger than 2. And I know, like, Jay, you're just stating obvious stuff here, but I mean, think about in your head, down 2-0, bloop and a blast, right? And you're which is essentially kind of what happened. Now, Clement didn't bloop. He doubled solidly down the line, but then they get the Jimenez blast. 3-0, and it feels a lot bigger. I don't know how to describe it, but it just does. I thought that was a big run they left out there. Thought Kirby's approach was a little off against the Tigers. He went very slider heavy. Against the Jays, it was very fastball. I know they've struggled with the sinker this year, so maybe it was the sinker he's trying to throw, but John Schneider, not the Seahawks GM, the Jays manager, made the point that they adjusted and started getting more aggressive early on. And you saw in that third inning, they really just started hammering Kirby early in the count. And I will say this about George Kirby. And listen, he's had a great postseason. He was fantastic in Game 1 and Game 5. This team is not in the ALCS without George Kirby. But I do think he sometimes struggles with, like, settling in for Kirby. I feel like he is either dialed in where it's 6 innings of 1-run ball or no runs, or it just spirals. And I could be wrong on that. Like, you guys can correct me. I don't have all Kirby starts in front of me, but it feels like once it gets away from him a little bit, it really gets away from him. I do think Dan left him out there a little too long. Not that I would have turned it over down 5-2 or 6-2 to Bizarro, Spire, and Brash, but I might have given Vargas a shot, given Luke Jackson a shot, because Kirby just didn't have it. Maybe one of those lower leverage guys or Hancock has it a little bit and keeps it at 6-2 or 5-2, and you battle back a little bit. Don't know, but I might have taken him out a little early. I don't think ultimately that it mattered. I just don't think the Mariners were winning this baseball game once it got to 5-2 there, and everything. And I get Dan trying to maybe squeeze one more out of Kirby there, but anytime a manager tries to squeeze one more out of a pitcher, it hardly ever works. And you didn't. All you squeezed out was a couple more runs from the Jays. And again, I'm not saying Luke Jackson or Carlos Vargas saves the day in this one, but I might have pulled Kirby a little bit earlier. And it goes back to kind of what I just said, where I don't remember George really settling in after giving up a couple runs. It seems like either really on his game or it just kind of spirals a little bit. And that's definitely something here where, when the Jays tied it at 2-2, that wild pitch, maybe it was a pass ball, gets uncorked there. You keep it at 3-2, you're fine, right? Like, you're in good shape, but then Varsho doubles down the line, and it just kind of came unraveled. Even the Jimenez home run after the Ernie Clement double, right? Keep Jimenez in the ballpark, maybe rolls over one, advances the runner, so be it. You get 2-1. Now, the Jays deserve credit for making the swings as well. It is what it is. But yeah, just not a good performance for George Kirby. And like I said, the offense kind of falls asleep too. They get those 2 early runs. Really disappointed to see them not battle back. Again, Shane Bieber kind of allowed him to settle in. Do think he kind of had the Jays on the ropes a little bit there. Like I said, that third run and that first, I think, would have felt huge there. But I think once it got 5-2, 6-2, it was easier for Bieber to settle in, to be pitching with a 3-4 run lead. I'm sure any pitcher will tell you it is a much easier task. You're not as worried about making mistakes in certain spots. So kind of a hard game to judge from that standpoint, but definitely would have liked to seen some base runners when they got down, put a little pressure on Bieber, even down 6-2 or 8-2, right? Get a couple guys on, someone doubles, it's 8-4, runner at second, nobody out. And, the fans come back alive in it a little bit, and, maybe it's a game. So, but, all that ifs and buts, right, didn't end up happening here. So, I mean, not much else to really say about it. I mean, Harry Ford gets a postseason hit. That's pretty cool. A good day for Julio. He said Cal, Funny enough, if you would have told me before the game that Randy would homer, even if you told me a solo, Cal solo home run, Julio 2-run home run, another hit, I would have told you, boy, I'll take that. I think the Mariners probably win this game, but unfortunately, nothing else the rest of the way here. George Kirby, 4 innings, 8 hits, 8 runs, all earned, 2 walks, 4 Ks, 3 home runs. Just not good, right? No other way to put that. I will say this, and again, I still keep the positive outlook, and we'll finish it off. We'll Oreo this, positive, negative. We'll finish it off with a positive here. Kirby and Logan both did not look great so far in their starts against the Blue Jays. Logan may have been a little bit more fatigue-based than anything. I think that's definitely a fair, assumption to say. Kirby, maybe some fatigue, but he was on normal rest, so who knows? These are the guys that are lined up to go game 6 and 7 if it gets there. So that's a little nervous because they did not pitch well, right? So the nerves will be racked up a little bit if it gets to that point in this series. So that's definitely a little concerning. Vargas, 1 inning, 4 hits, 2 runs, 2 earned. I'll be honest, at that point, I was kind of half tuned out. I was still watching it, but just not really like fully dedicated to how Vargas looked. If I remember, that's kind of when some things just kind of started dropping in a little bit for the Jays. I'm guessing Vargas got a little BABIP there. Caleb Ferguson was terrible, but ate up 2 innings, I guess, gives up 3 hits, 2 runs, both earned. He gave up the Kirk home run, double and 2 strikeouts. Truthfully, Luke Jackson was probably your best pitcher today. 2 innings, 3 hits, 1 run, 1 earned, no walks, and a strikeout. Kirby started out really good. First 2 innings looked great. Like I said, I mean, it looked like we were headed to being up 3-0 in the series. But listen, Jays probably felt they had game 1 after that Springer home run and put a couple guys on. But, that game obviously ends up being closer at 3-1, but kind of a mirror of this one a little bit in terms of, when Bryce Miller got out of that first inning with only the 1 run, it felt pretty good. It was like, that should have been more. Kind of the same here for the Mariners. I thought they should have had more runs in the first inning there. But yeah, it's probably not a good day when Luke Jackson was your best guy on the mound. Offensively, listen, Randy pretty solid, 1 for 3 with the home run and a walk. Got the game started off with the walk, and it felt like we were on our way. Cal had the home run, 1 for 4. Julio 2 for 4 with the big 2-run home run. Man, it was alive when that happened. You could feel it. Polanco was 1 for 3. Rivas 0 for 1. Naylor 0 for 3. Harry Ford pinch hits 1 for 1. Harry Ford, playoff legend, 2,000 OPS. Gino 1 for 4. Good to see him check in with a hit, but continuing to struggle. Dom 0 for 3. Dom and Robles really struggling. Robles 0 for 4. Garver pinched hit there 0 for 1. JP was 1 for 3 at the bottom of the order. I do wonder if you go Polo DH, Leo Rivas at second tomorrow. Rivas has had some better at-bats. Even tonight, he was punched out on a 2-2 pitch that was a ball. 12-4 game. I'm not going to rip the umpire here for that one. I get it, but Rivas is just putting up better at-bats, better fights. You also probably get better defensively with Rivas at second versus Polanco. So I think that matters as well. And listen, I wouldn't mind Dom in right field necessarily over Robles, but Robles gives you a little bit better defense with Castillo on the mound. I think this would be the time to do it. Dom just struggling, right? And I think there's anything wrong with Dom Canzoni. Had a great year, just not getting it done the postseason. But Rivas has had some really good at-bats, and I think he should be rewarded with the start there. And like I said, and then you probably improve defensively as well a little bit for the game. So I wouldn't be shocked. I think it might happen tomorrow. We'll see. And it's not to be panicky or anything, but who are you getting better at-bats from? It's Leo Rivas right now. And again, Robles versus Dom. I'd kind of prefer Dom out there in right field because Dom just has more ability to run into one, but you're going to get the better defense for Victor Robles out there defensively. So, yeah, I mean, listen, Mariners are up 2-1. Listen, of course, am I nervous? Yeah, I'd still have some nerves up 3-0. That's not going to go away. It is the playoffs. It's going to be crazy. There's going to be moments. I mean, if you guys can, you don't have to, obviously, but go online and watch highlights from AL and NLCSs and how the series go. They can go like this all the time, and teams can have the momentum, and it gets taken right back, and it's just battles. I mean, Texas 2 years ago, and I hope this isn't what happens with, I guess I would take it, but I hope it doesn't get this far. But they go on the road to Houston, win 2. Houston comes to Texas and wins 3. Texas goes back to Houston and wins 2. I mean, it is just a roller coaster. You never know what's going to happen here. I have a hard time believing this team would drop 3 straight at home in the postseason. I will stand by that. I will die on that hill. If it happens, I'll come back and go, it happened, right? I mean, it's not a prediction that I'm saying that they're for sure going to win a game. I don't see this team losing 3 in a row at home. And as long as you find a way to get 1, you're at least up 3-2. And if you can win 2 here and win the series, you're on your way to the World Series. There's ups and downs. I'm serious about going and watching some of those highlights because you will see the ups and downs, not just within the game. Funny enough, 2 out of these 3 games have been absolute blowouts, to be perfectly honest here. But it's the series itself, right? It's just the up and downs of the series, and all of them are weird. And I'll say this, I've been watching a lot of them just to get fired up for the games and watching some of these crowd reactions in other series. One thing I don't remember seeing was a lot of sweeps. I don't remember seeing a lot of teams 4-0 wins. Saw some 4-1, saw some 4-2, saw a lot of 4-3s. Don't remember a lot of 4-0s. They happen, of course. I don't remember even what happened last year, to be perfectly honest, and that may have happened, but there's not a lot of them. The Blue Jays had the best record in the American League for a reason. They're good. They are very good at baseball. And through 3 games, the Mariners are in a tremendous spot. A spot that every single person watching this video would have signed up for. Would I rather be up 3-0? Heck yeah, absolutely. But they're not. They're up 2-1. Had they lost game 2 and won game 3, you'd be absolutely fine. It's just frustrating because, again, we talked about like with the Tiger series, right? And getting to game 5. We would have been fine with it going to game 5 had they lost game 3 and won game 4. The sequencing of wins really doesn't matter when it's all said and done. What matters is who gets to 4 wins first, and the Mariners have the lead in that, and they're 2 away. They're at home. Got the Rock going, who's been great in the postseason for the Mariners, and Luis Castillo. Max Scherzer goes for the Jays. Listen, Scherzer's not been great this year. He's also a postseason veteran and knows how to pitch in these moments, so I wouldn't take that lightly, that it's just going to be some kind of cakewalk or anything like that. Listen, some of Castillo's underlying numbers aren't great, but I'll take the Rock on the hill in a big game, and we'll go from there. I will say tomorrow, I would definitely, if I'm Dan, manage this one a lot closer to a game 7 than I would tonight. I would definitely, if Castillo's in trouble, I wouldn't hesitate with Bizarro and Spire early tomorrow, or even Brash if you have to. I would definitely get a lot more aggressive because Gosman's looming in game 5. So there definitely are things like, again, this isn't just everything's sunshine and rainbows. Like I said, Kirby and Gilbert didn't pitch great. They'd be going game 6 and 7. There's concern, but it's just always going to exist there until it's done, right? Until it's over. And until I see the Mariners move on, I won't count it as a win. Until I see them eliminated, I'm not going to count the series as a loss. So, but I do know this, they're in good shape. They're still in good shape. So that's about all I've got for y'all. Not great tonight. Shout out again to everybody that was out there at the ballpark. Crowd was rocking. As usual, you guys are absolutely amazing. Best fans in baseball. Wish I was out there with y'all. Get loud tomorrow because nothing to be nervous about in terms of like getting you hyped up. Be nervous, but let's go out there and get a W tomorrow. Let's go up 3-1 in the ALCS. Take care, everybody. Like, comment, subscribe, bounce back tomorrow. And as always, go Mariners. Peace.